Happy Valentine's Day, friends! Today we are creating a mini Mylar heart balloon watercolor that you can use as a Valentine's card or even frame and hang on your wall. We're going to keep it super simple, just 3 watercolors and a white gel pen if you have one. Let's get started. I'm going to start with a loose sketch. We don't have to match the reference photo exactly. First, I draw a heart shape with really soft, rounded corners. Then I add some little squiggles or scallops around the outside to show that extra bit of material that wrinkles once the balloon is inflated. We'll make sure to add the little tail at the base of the heart. That's the part where the balloon gets tied and strung. Make sure to lightly sketch in where your highlights will be and hint at a few areas where the wrinkles are a little bit deeper. Next, I'm going to wet the inside of the heart with clean water. You want your paper to look nice and glistening, but not soaking wet. You don't want any puddles. Then I'm going in with our first color, Deep Scarlet by Daniel Smith. I'm dropping a good amount of pigment in, and I'm being careful to avoid the highlights that we sketched in. If your paint starts to creep into your highlights, no worries. Just rinse your brush really well, wipe off most of the water, and gently lift that color back out. We'll use that same technique, it's called lifting, around the outside of the balloon too, to bring back some of the highlights. Though this part doesn't really add to the final piece, I am lifting more highlights out from around that diamond shape highlight to really brighten that area up. Now we're going to let this layer dry. You can let it sit in the sunshine if you have some, hit it with a hair dryer, or just let it air dry naturally and go grab a snack. Once everything is dry, we'll introduce our next color, Rose Madder by Daniel Smith. This just adds a little bit more punch and interest to our reds. I'm doing a pretty even wash of this over the balloon, still avoiding those main interior highlights and the highlights around the perimeter. I keep the main highlights with a harder edge, but you'll see me in a minute softening those perimeter highlights using that same lifting technique with a clean, damp brush. And make sure to rinse your brush often so you're not moving color into those areas that you want to keep light. While this layer is still damp, we are going to bring in our third and final color, Ultramarine Blue by Daniel Smith. We'll use this to deepen our shadows and really create that shiny Mylar balloon effect. By dropping in that ultramarine color in while the rest of the painting is still wet, it'll help the paint glide better on the page and blend better with those other colors that are already laid down. I'm starting by adding more depth around that left highlight to really make it pop. Then I bring a bit of shadow to the top right of the balloon to help it round out and give it more dimension. Next, I use that same color to deepen the wrinkles, sketching in the creases and little bumps around the outside of the balloon. I also work that same shade along the outer edge, creating those subtle scalloped shapes that really sell the Mylar texture. For the ribbon, I'm going back in with straight, deep scarlet to make it nice and vibrant. And finally, I grab my white gel pen to add those last little details, tiny pops of highlight along some of the creases to make that balloon look extra shiny and dimensional. Alright, that's our finished mini Mylar heart balloon. I love how just 3 colors and a little white gel pen can create so much dimension. You can turn this into a sweet Valentine's card for someone you love, or frame it and hang it up as a little reminder of love in your home. With Valentine's Day here, I wanted to leave you with a verse that feels fitting. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. 1 Corinthians 13:4. I hope you have a beautiful Valentine's Day, and I'll see you in the next one.